I am Landon DeCrastis. I'm a pastor, also the presenter here on this Ministry Sauce channel. Wanted to talk about some things today that might hit close to home, maybe not hit close to home, but maybe you've dealt with it in the past. And I feel like these are issues that if we wrap our minds around, if we truly address, then we can find victory in so many areas. There are some toxic and dangerous things that we deal with on a regular basis, and I feel like that these questions are just some of them. And so I ask that you truly allow yourself to be open-minded, open-hearted, and listen to these questions, and let's talk about them for a moment. First of all, first question is this: why do we compare our lives to other people's lives? It's a simple question, and it's probably one that you've thought of in the past, or maybe that you've currently thought of, or maybe just in the recent past. But I think we have to think about deeply what the root of this issue is. We see, so to speak, the Joneses living next door, and they have a big boat, they have a big car, a big house, a bigger house than we do, more children, and they have more, or maybe they have less, or maybe they have something that we want and that we covet. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not covet." But we look in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and we see a very direct statement given by Paul. And he tells us the fact that we are all members of Christ's body, those who know him. And if everyone was an ear, then we couldn't see, and everyone was a nose, then we couldn't hear. He gives that kind of mentality. There is a very important reason why we're all called to be different, because we bring different things to the table, so to speak. And if God had made clones of everyone was exactly the same, then we wouldn't be doing the things that we were called to do. Success in life is not just doing better than everyone else or making lots of money. I believe that success is having your eyes and heart set on a mission and never giving up. So think about it that way. So why do we compare ourselves to others? This whole concept of trying to do better. If you're a mother or a father and you read these parenting blogs, every single one talks about the next best thing to make your kids mind you, for them to behave and do better in school and do better than the other kids. And every time you post something like on Facebook that you're doing with your children, someone's going to come back and say, well, according to recent research, that's not good and you're a horrible parent and someone should call CPS, something like that. Think about how many things that you see, advertisements, are causing you to stop and think about how you can be better or the same as the next person. We all want to be supermen and women for some reason. God has called us to be who we are, to trust in him, and to use the gifts that he's given us for the glory of his kingdom and the betterment of the world. We have something that we can offer to the world that no one can. I have things that I can do, maybe talents that I have, but guess what? I might be better than doing that than someone, but there is someone that's better at doing that than me. I'm a preacher. There are better preachers than I am if you look at it quantitatively or qualitatively or whatever. So God has given us special gifts, special talents, special callings, so we are not supposed to compare ourselves to others. That is just plain sin. So I ask that you release yourself of the obligation of doing that. You can be competitive. You can go for that promotion at work. You can do those kinds of things, but stop comparing yourself, because God made only one you. And that might sound generic, but I'm going to go on here for a second and it'll all connect. The next question I think that we need to address as humans is why do we base our happiness on material things and temporary circumstances? This concept our culture has embedded in our minds that we're supposed to only think about self. And as long as we get ahead, as long as we feel better, as long as our needs are met, then that's all that matters in our lives. Well, honestly, that's what Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini, all those things, all those people felt the same way. That if it was just about them, about their needs, then this whole world would be in trouble, and it became in trouble big time around those times. Why do we base our happiness and material things on material things and temporary circumstances? Think about your life. Think about the things that you've tried to accumulate. Think about the next step in your life that you've tried to take. And maybe you're watching this today and you're considering, like, and we talked about this in another video that I've done, but it was a Facebook Live video. Maybe you're considering leaving your spouse today because you're not happy anymore. Well, God calls us to not be happy, but to be holy. And we will find joy in that if we allow ourselves to be given over and trust in Him and allow Him to create our happiness. We have to decide for ourselves that we are to be content. Like I said before in the previous question, still go for that promotion. Do the best you can at everything. Don't give up. Strive for excellence in everything that you do. But just realize that if we allow these temporary things, the things that we can hold in our hands and eventually drop, to make us happy or to control our happiness or whatever that really means, that we will constantly find ourselves in a state of discouragement and fear even. And we'll find ourselves worshiping that golden calf, fixing our eyes on idols that will never give us eternal joy. So, next question is this: why do we expect perfection from others when we in turn are imperfect? How many times has someone wronged you and you've gotten so angry and you've held that grudge and you've held on to that bitter poison of unforgiveness only to realize that it was more damaging you than it was damaging them? You see, what we have to realize is when we step into life and relationships and communication is that people can change and they can be transformed. Also, past mistakes do not dictate future behavior. Now, if the person's heart never changes and their mind never changes, and I guess that would be the idea here, if those things don't change, then they're probably going to fall into the pattern again that they've always fell into. But allow yourself, and this is going to sound weird, allow yourself to be disappointed. Give yourself over to the fact that people can change. Give them another chance. If someone hurt you, abused you, there's definitely some precautions that you need to take. You need to make sure that you're safe, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So please hear me when I say don't run into the arms of an abuser if there has been no transformation. But what I'm saying is, don't hold a perfect expectation on someone else when you know yourself that you are imperfect. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. Finally, the final question I want to share with us today is this: why do we get so mad when someone, and this is connected to this last one, why do we get so mad when someone is slow to forgive, yet we are as well? Connected with this whole grudge mentality. Like, man, they won't forgive me. They won't talk to me. Well, it's a two-way street. In relationships and communication, we have to understand that people are dealing with similar things that we are. Sometimes people have to process things, and that's just their personality, and we have to be okay with that. Now, we have to respect the process. And during the respecting that process, we have to understand our own process as well. So don't get so mad when someone is slow to forgive and we're not fast to forgive ourselves. Be quick to forgive. I hope you got something out of that, and I hope you have a great day.